Warning: Superpower review is intended for a mature viewing audience. This video may show images that are not suitable for kids under 13 years old. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's going on, everybody? It's Ken Regina here for Superpower Review, and thank you so much for joining me on today's video. Today we're going to be giving King in Black issue number 1 a comic book review. As always, I'm not alone. I'm joined by my good friend Joseph Reed. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
What's up, baby? Let's do this.
Let's do it. So before we get into today's issue, I want to remind you guys to please smash that like button if you like today's content. Comment your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And lastly, subscribe to the channel for future comic reviews and to potentially win a free slab. So guys, let's get into it. Joe, what did you think about this issue?
I personally feel like it lived up to the hype. Now, before we go too deep with all that, Absolute Carnage issue 1, it lived up to the hype too, but it fell off. But this I feel like is living up to the hype, and it's just going to keep going, man.
Well, I surely hope so, because I really don't want this whole, like we said in our previous videos where, it starts off super strong, and then when it's time to wrap it up, it fizzles out. So I really hope that that's not the case for this book, but man, this book is just epic. So I read the issue 3 times, and I'm just trying to digest all of the information and everything that's going on, and it's just absolutely epic, and it totally did live up to the hype. Again, I just hope it doesn't, fall flat on its face like it normally does, you know what I mean?
With what happens in this issue, we didn't see anything like that in Absolute Carnage issue 1, you know what I mean? Like, Absolute Carnage issue 1 was just cool in its own right, but this, we get like a major death, like, that I personally wouldn't have, I just didn't see it coming. And the way it's done, it's like so poetic, man. Like, you can't just drop off after this. There's no way.
The death was very shocking. I wasn't expecting to see Sentry in this series because we don't really see too much of Sentry in Marvel, to be honest. And so I would have to say that this was the perfect death for this series. And it goes to show you, too, how strong Null really is. He took out Sentry like, by the way, like, this is, you're not going to take me, and he just rips him apart, dude. Like, that was insane.
I thought that was so awesome because Sentry's been known to do that to so many characters, including Carnage, which Null even says, like, oh, my hive has memory of you, like, you killed Carnage, and just rips him in half. So the thing about that is I actually reached out to my boy Jeb because he knows everything about every freaking character, and I wanted to talk to him about that specific scene. So what I didn't realize, if you look at the Super Log 1 in 25 variant cover for this issue, Null has these kind of spiderish legs looking going out of him and whatnot. So when Null rips him in half, you see all these legs, spider leg looking things going everywhere. And I just kind of assumed that was Null's suit, helping rip him apart or whatever. But when Null ripped Sentry in half, he also ripped in half the Void. So he Sentry is completely done, and I feel like that was Donny Cates' way of, like, a lot of people have been speculating, the Void, everything that Sentry's talking about, Sentry's either the god of light, which that's just completely out of the picture, and then we also have, the Void, like, it's somehow connected to Null, and that's completely out of the picture. Null even says at one point, like, that darkness inside of you bows to me, like, I am the Void. So Sentry is completely done. Like, spoiler alert, like, he's done. It's just insane, man. I didn't expect that to happen to Sentry. Sentry is just like, he's the A-bomb. So it was just wild to see that.
Yeah, and again, like I said, for him to just rip him apart like that and just completely spank him like that, what just goes again to show you how serious and how powerful Null is and how he is, not to be taken very lightly. Now, I think the Avengers kind of didn't take it as seriously. Like, Venom, well, I should say Eddie and Venom really knew how powerful he really was and how he should be taken seriously. But, the Avengers seemed like they had a plan, and, if it's going to work, and, they're just going to have Sentry fly in, you know what I mean? And they're going to have all these people on the ground, they're going to have these people in the air, and, they just didn't I don't think they had a very good game plan, in my opinion, because everything just failed. And this is one of the big things I loved about this book, is that I feel the stress of these characters, on how overwhelmed they are. I feel it, and that's why I loved it so much. Like, oh my God, like what's happening? Like, what are they gonna do? What are we gonna do? You know what I mean?
They definitely did emphasize like this is it, and yeah, like you said, Iron Man, Tony Stark being himself, he was like, oh, I got my defenses out in outer space, they're not even gonna make it here, and they just literally, it's like a huge bomb. He explodes it, and these dragons just roll right through it. They don't even stop. So he quickly realizes like, this is really bad. And then Captain America himself, like you said, they all kind of treat it like, that's the beauty. Like I said, Venom's always been like that character. Like even back in the day, if the Avengers had to deal with Venom, they would just get Spider-Man to trick his ass, and there we go, the day saved. But with Null, we're seeing a threat like Thanos level, and they were not ready for it. Clearly, they weren't ready for it.
But I think his whole entrance was epic. Like, it's just like when those Celestials like come down crashing into Earth, and like that little flap opens and he comes out, like it's just menacing, and it's just doom. You know what I mean? You just know it's over.
That was pretty epic, dude. The fact that he's controlling one of the Celestials, like, I mean, we've always been hearing that Noel's like super powerful and this and that and this and that, and we're truly seeing that in this issue. Like all the Celestials that he first encountered when they first came into existence and started creating the galaxy, he beheaded one of them right off bat, and then now you're seeing later on he has the other three under his possession, and and like you said, he's not even breaking a sweat. Like
No.
Sentries in and picked him up. It was all calm and cool, like, hi, my name's Bob, this is going to be over soon, blah, blah, blah. And Noel was just like, nah, and just yanked him up and just ripped him, like nothing. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Issue 2, just from what I'm hearing, issue 2 is going to be blowing some people's minds. And this series is just going to continue to go. I'm hoping that each issue, with the 5 issues, is something major in each one of them. Because I'm hearing rumors, and I don't want to say anything, but I'm hearing that issue 2 is just going to be like, it's just going to be mind-blowing. So we're definitely in for a treat with this series.
Do you think in issue 2, or in this series completely, that Eddie Brock could potentially die?
I say the sky's the limit, baby. Like for real.
Nobody's safe.
We may as well jump to the very end of this comic for a split second here, but Eddie gets stripped of the symbiote, so he's without his symbiote. Maybe this is how Sleeper gets incorporated. Maybe him and Sleeper kind of bond up again. But right now, he's completely powerless. At this point, after this issue ends, Venom is completely powerless. Like Null pretty much takes him back.
Yeah, and there was another thing that was pretty interesting too, is that he was initially going there to, like you said, you predicted this. As soon as Null comes in, he's not going to care about anybody. He's there for Dylan.
Yep, and yeah, I just knew it. I mean, with all the tie-ins and all the little moments that we've seen with Dylan, he's obviously has a connection to Null. Null, he sees Null in his dreams, and he gets kind of possessed, and he's been putting little swirlies on walls and whatnot. Null knows very well who Dylan is, and I'm starting to believe more and more and more that Null, as much as Dylan looks like Eddie, Null pretty much created Dylan. I'm starting to believe that more and more, by the issues here.
True, I believe that too.
I mean, it was just inevitable that he was going to do that, and like I said in the last video, he literally just slapped everyone out of the way, was tearing fools in half, and was just like, I want the one named Brock. That's all I'm here for. Give me him, and I'll kill this world as painless and as quickly as I possibly can.
Looking for Brock, but again, I think we think that he's looking for Eddie Brock, but in real life, I think he's looking for Dylan Brock.
Yep, and he absolutely was. And Eddie, being the savior that he is, the fatherly protector, I thought this was interesting because I thought from a preview that I seen that maybe they went back to this Rex Strickland safe house. But in reality, Spider-Man had a safe house built by, I forget the character's name, and Eddie takes Dylan to that safe house and pretty much locks him in there, like, don't open this for anyone. And then he goes thinking, that this is what Null wants, and, we got Tony Stark freaking out, Captain America's freaking out, everyone's freaking out, like, don't do it, don't do it. And he's like, no, I need to stop this. And he goes to him, and in just a beautiful fashion, Null's just kind of smiling on his face, like, no, you're not what I'm here for, but give me my child, and takes the symbiote, and then explains to him, like, I'm going to go take your child now. And, like, I knew that this was going to happen. Like, he's here specifically for Dylan.
Yeah. And so you just mentioned about the whole time, when Eddie goes to bring Dylan to that safe house. And you brought up some really good points, and this was one of my predictions that I wanted to mention on the show. So he brings Dylan to the safe house. Don't open this up to anybody, unless you know them. And if you notice, he says that Spider-Man knows about the safe house. Once the symbiote starts taking over the grounds, Spider-Man leaves the scene, and Captain America tells him, "Go get help." I think Spider-Man's going to go get Dylan. I mean, I think Spider-Man knows that Dylan could potentially be the key to put a dent in this, or maybe even put an end to this, even if it means putting a child in front of the battle lines. But I think that's their only hope, and I think that's who he's swinging off to go get, in my opinion.
That's a very good theory. When he said that, we had the Avengers, the X-Men, and I think some of the Fantastic Four were on scene. So I couldn't think off the top of my head, like, who else is he going to? Like, I really don't know. Peter's pretty smart, but I'm not sure. I'd have to double check, but I'm not sure he knows the potential of Dylan. I think he just knows, back then that Eddie was his father, but not telling him. I don't know if Spider-Man's ever seen Dylan. Oh, Absolute Carnage. You know what?
Yeah, because he sees him explode Carnage.
Yeah, that's a very good point. He could be doing that. That would be interesting. We're definitely going to see, no matter what. I mean, Null is just literally destroying everything with ease. He's going to go, if he finds that safe house, he's just going to get it right in, and no matter what, these two are going to be face to face.
Yeah, for sure. And my other prediction in this issue was something I wasn't really expecting to see, but we see Venom go to the underground and connect with the, with the chair or the hive, whatever you want to call it, that Carnage was using in the Absolute Carnage series. And again, I wasn't really expecting to see that, but is it sort of foreshadowing that we're going to be seeing maybe Carnage in this storyline?
I definitely think at some point we're definitely going to see Carnage. We haven't seen Carnage in a while, and I'm expecting Carnage to show up. I'm hoping Sleeper shows up. Like, if the Eddie and Sleeper thing happens, that'd be really cool, because if not, I mean, Sleeper's going to be left out of this whole thing. The Carnage symbiote is still out there. Null is now on Earth. He completely engulfs the planet, which that was pretty brutal.
That was insane.
He too. And I like how he said it, like, your sky, it's distracting me or whatever, and he just closes his fist. And all the dragons form a huge, like, symbiote. It's Planet of the Symbiotes again. That was really cool. With that being said, that Carnage symbiote is on that planet.
Yeah.
So something's going to happen with that. If this whole series ends with no Carnage, I will be shocked.
What did you think about Ryan Stegman's art in here? Because I don't know if you notice, there are some times where his artwork is like absolutely amazing. There's like panels in here that are really, really fantastic and, shine out. And there are other panels where like I see like a few, some things that are just off. I won't call them discrepancies, but like some stuff that's off, like, I think he could have done that a little bit better. But his splash pages are amazing. What did you think about the artwork in this issue?
I'm on the same page with you, man. I really do appreciate his artwork. He's putting a lot of stuff into these. Like, you really go through and you look around and you think, if you were drawing it, there's a lot going on. But I have noticed several times that certain points, Null looks really, really menacing. The point where he's holding Venom by the throat over top of the building, that's really menacing. And if you go and look at the image where he first killed Sentry, where he says, "I am the Void," if you kind of look at his face, it looks kind of goofy and cartoonish.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'll agree to that because there are times where where we see Null and his jaw looks a little goofy and like it's very like skinny and there's not like too much detail to it. It just looks like a U shape with teeth. You know what I mean? So there's that's like some of the things that I like saw, but there's like a few other things that I was like, that doesn't really look right. But again, like there were some panels that were lacking that like I think he could do that better. But then there were those like really like shining panels where like, oh my God, that looks so good, you know?
Definitely, I've noticed it a lot, and it just really comes down to the fact that there's a lot of drawing that he's doing inside of this issue as well as covers, and then these guys are branching out doing other stuff. So he's probably really pushing himself. I would imagine he still has enough time to eat and sleep and all, but I feel like he's definitely pushing himself.
All right, Joe, let's get into it. Let's sink our teeth into it now. So if you were to give King in Black issue number 1 a CGC grade, what would you be giving this book?
Realistically, I'm going to give it a 9.6. And that's due to the fact that it's just, we got a major death that I don't think anybody's seen coming.
No.
It totally destroys all the speculation hype around Sentry. The artwork, like you said, I'm just going to point it out real quick. I kind of always thought this cover was just a tad bit bland. When Null looks like that, I kind of don't like it, Venom looks a little off. The covers are a little bit bland. But with that being said, with the splash pages and the certain panels in there, the artwork is just incredible. It really shines. It almost reminds me of Greg Capullo at some points. So
yeah, the
artwork kind of shifting back and forth was a little weird. Overall, it's just a great story. Everything that I've heard rumor-wise leading up to issue 2, it's just sounding like this is going to be a really good series. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 9.6. And it's not a green label. We're just going regular blue label.
Good grade, good grade. I want to bring up something that you just said. Donny Cates did post on Twitter that this series is going to change Venom for the rest of his life. It's going to change Eddie Brock for the rest of his life. He did say something like that. So be prepared, people, because like Joe said, sky's the limit. Anything could happen, and I don't think anybody's safe in this issue. So
they definitely make that apparent. At one point, he pretty much, it looks like he squashes Storm with symbiotic hands. So, I mean, he's just devastating people, man.
Yeah.
So, with Eddie without a symbiote, he's very vulnerable right now. And, spoiler alert, as usual, he literally tossed him off the top of a skyscraper. That's the last panel of this issue. So,
unless somebody's going to save him, or he's just going to go flat on the ground. I don't know.
And hey, keep in mind, Sleeper can fly.
That's true. That's true.
How funny would that be, man? He just flies in and
he just flies in and like kind of engulfs him, and that's it. He's Sleeper. That would be kind of cool.
That would be pretty cool.
All right, so if I were to give King in Black issue 1 a CGC grade today, I'm going to go with the same grade as my guest. I'm going to go with a 9.6, and the reasoning for the 9.6 and not a 9.8, the artwork is absolutely amazing. There are some panels in here that absolutely shine and look fantastic, but there are some other panels that, kind of lack good anatomy, or things just don't look right. But this storyline, man, this storyline just did not disappoint. The whole time I was reading, I was having heart palpitations, like as if it was happening here. So it's totally epic. You just feel the stress and the panic of these characters. So like the whole energy that emits just played off so well. Donny Cates did a really great job. And like I said, with Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman being the co-creators of Null, it's really nice to see this team back together and working on this epic Venom event. So I'm going to give it a 9.6. I highly recommend it, especially if you're not into Venom right now. If you haven't read Venom, still pick it up. There's other characters that are in this comic book that you might enjoy. So that is going to be my grade for King in Black issue number 1. So, Joe, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm totally agreeing with you. And real quick, while we got a minute, I just want to highlight something. Speaking of Null, this came out the same day. It's the Marvel Tales Null. Number one, this is the best cover I have seen from Lee and Hugh. And it's essentially a reprint of Venom issue 3 and 4, the first appearance and origin of Null. Definitely a really nice book. They have a 1 in 50 version of that thing, and I feel like if you were one of the lucky few, which I was not, and you got the 1 in 50 version, hold on to that bad boy, because that might be a rarity later on down the road.
Yeah, that might be something. Hold on, before we go, too, another question. Do you think with King in Black here now, do you think prices of Venom issue number 3 will jump up in price and Venom issue number 9?
I can definitely see that. Definitely. For sure, we still got the whole hype going with Dylan, and as you talked before, your prediction of Codex awakening and coming to this universe.
That's going to happen.
That could very well still happen. So if that were to happen, the first appearance of Dylan I would expect to rise in value, as well as the first appearance of Codex. Null is just leaving his mark, man. I think this whole series is to show the whole Marvel Universe what is up. Like, he is leaving his mark, and I think he's going to be here to stay. I'm going to say this now. I don't see this series ending with Null being defeated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Touche. So guys, that's going to do it for King in Black issue number 1. Joe, thank you so much for being on today's show. Guys, let us know what you thought about King in Black in the comment section down below. Comment some feedback. Like this video if you liked anything that was said in this video, and subscribe to the channel for future comic reviews. And since this video is over, now's a good time to go in this video's description, click on the link, and find out how you can win a free slab. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.